The Lord of the Rings Online, or LOTRO, is an MMORPG released in 2007, and it remains, in my humble opinion, one of the best adaptations of Tolkien's world. In this video I will try to show you the hidden, or not so hidden details that make the world of LOTRO so immersive and lively. This time we'll take a look at the Lone Lands, the barren wilderness to the east of Bree-land. In the last video, we left the hobbits as they traveled through the Midgewater marshes together with their newly found guide, Aragorn. Aragorn leads the hobbits through the marshes, and during the night Frodo sees some mysterious lights in the distance, similar to lightning but rising up from the ground instead of falling down from the sky. Both he and Aragorn do not know what it is they are witnessing, and they both go back to sleep. When the company finally reaches the end of the marshes, they see a weathered hill with a flat top in the distance. This is the old watchtower of Amon Sul, today known as Weathertop. They rest next to a stream that rolls down into the marshes under some alder trees. Both the stream and the trees are present in the game. The hobbits wake up feeling very refreshed the next morning, as they are getting used to walking long distances without much food. Strider decides to make for Weathertop by taking an ancient path which arrives on the northern side of the hill. The path is described as going past walls, dikes, diving into dells, and even the exposed parts of the path give some cover because of some hewn rocks on the side. This ancient path was made to supply the defensive fortresses that protected the land around this area from the evil kingdom of Angmar during the Second Age. The whole path is present in the game, and you can follow it all the way from the Midgewater Pass to the Weathertop. When the company reaches Weathertop, Sam and Pippin set up camp in a little dell at the foot of the hill. Meanwhile, Aragorn takes Frodo and Merry to the top. The hobbits climb up with great difficulty as the last bit of the path is quite steep, and on top they find the old ruins of the watchtower that once stood on this hill when it was still called Amon Sul, or the Hill of Wind. Much of the stonework is charred, and in the middle of the tower they find a cairn topped with a white stone. On the stone the runes for G and 3 scratches are inscribed, which Aragorn deduces stands for something along the lines of Gandalf was here on October the 3rd. Gandalf stood at the same spot 3 days ago and was attacked. Aragorn and Frodo both remember the strange lights they saw a few days ago, and now they know who caused them back then. While standing on the hill and looking for clues of Gandalf, Frodo sees a few black spots moving along the Great East Road. Aragorn takes the hobbits back down to camp, lamenting the amount of time he spent exposed on the hill. At the camp, Sam and Pippin have found a spring and a stash of firewood nearby, which is presumably left by the rangers. This camp is present in-game, complete with spring and firewood stash, and you can even find an old campfire with 5 benches around it. These benches were presumably left by 4 hobbits and their guide. You can even find some stumps of chopped down trees at the foot of the hill, traces left by the rangers who gathered the store of firewood. During the night, the company is attacked by 5 Nazgul, and Frodo gets stabbed. Aragorn drives the wraiths away with fire, and he leads the hobbits and an ailing Frodo through the pathless wilds. They go southward and pass over the Great East Road, after which they continue their journey east. Eventually they reach a ridge overlooking the Great East Road to the left and the beginning of the Trollshaws to the right. From here Aragorn and Sam scout the last bridge, which they need to cross the river Horwell, which is barring their way. Aragorn bids Sam to hide in a bush while he checks the bridge, and on the bridge he finds a beril, an elf stone, and he decides the bridge is safe to cross. While the elf stone is not present in-game, as it has been found by Aragorn by the time you reach the bridge yourself, the rest of the geography of the region is quite accurate. In the books the company sees another river just about in the distance beyond the river Horwell. This river is the Bruinen, just in front of Rivendell, but it's not visible in-game unfortunately. Here we leave the company again, as they pass the last bridge into the Trollshaws, trying to reach Rivendell in a race against time. The Lone Lands is arguably not even really a clearly defined area in Tolkien's works, as it's also the name for the region of Eriador in general in Elvish. But the developers of Lotro managed to shape the area into a very nice place to explore, and there are several more interesting tidbits to be found. At the beginning of the Great East Road in the Lone Lands, a building called the Forsaken Inn can be found. This inn is mentioned in a book called The History of the Hobbit, where Tolkien's attempts to create continuity between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, which he wrote after The Hobbit, are documented. In this work, Bilbo and company discover the last inn and they find it to be abandoned. Aragorn mentions it in the Fellowship of the Ring as the Forsaken Inn. In Lotro, however, it's still quite lively despite its namesake. There's also a skirmish instance where the inn gets attacked, revealing a network of caves beneath the basement of the inn where a group of bandits once attacked people on the road long ago. Frodo is not the only one who witnesses the light flashes on Weathertop. While Gandalf is atop Amon Sul, the player character is on an errand from a ranger called Candaith. When you return, Candaith tells you he saw flashes and urges you to investigate the hill. Eventually you kill a group of orcs attempting to conquer the hill. You do this canonically before Frodo passes the area, so you unwittingly make the area safer for Frodo, Aragorn and the others to traverse through. In the northeastern part of the Lone Lands, a red swamp filled with enemies can be found. Long ago, this area was part of the Kingdom of Arnor, which stretched all the way over most of Eriador, until it broke apart into 3 separate kingdoms called Arthedain, Cardolan and Rhudaur. Most of the Lone Lands were part of the Kingdom of Rhudaur, which was ultimately corrupted by the Witch King of Angmar. Many wars were fought in the north and ultimately all 3 kingdoms collapsed. And in this red swamp, the maiden of the local spring became corrupted due to all the violence happening in the area. The player character helps some spirits with some quests inside the swamp to cleanse the maiden of the spring, and the spirits revealed they were cursed by none other than Tom Bombadil for their inaction against the corruption when it was happening during the Second Age. You are aided in your efforts to cleanse the swamp by Radagast the Brown, one of the 5 wizards. He has come to the north with a message for Gandalf from Saruman. Radagast did not know of Saruman's evil intentions to trap Gandalf, and when Gandalf asks him to help out in the effort against evil, he does. He is a master of shapes and hues, and he's a friend to all animals. Radagast gives you a drop of water from a vial he acquired from Goldberry, the wife of Tom Bombadil, who also happens to be the sister of the cursed Maiden of the Spring. With this water you eventually manage to cleanse the Red Maid and return her to her original form. The focus of the Lord of the Rings books lie mainly on the adventures of the members of the Fellowship. Because of this, a lot of the impact of Sauron's influence is not shown in the core story. In the appendices of The Return of the King, it is shown people from all places of Middle-earth experience problems due to the war. In the Lone Lands, a mysterious tribe of creatures can be found, and they call themselves Jorthkin, or Earthkin, and they seem to be a type of ogre. They have fled from trolls from the north, who have raided their homes and taken all they have. Eventually you help them kill some local trolls and retrieve some stones that the Earthkin wrote their entire history on. As a species, they are not really canon, they are sort of adapted from a vague mention by Tolkien about giants and ogres, but to me they seem symbolic of the widespread distress that Sauron's servants are causing in the world. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. Capturing nice footage in Lotro sometimes feels more like photography, where you get yourself into a position and let the landscape and the weather do the magic, and work with the limitations that the game has sometimes. Especially since I have no access to a free cam or flying mode. Anyway, thank you for watching, see you in the next video, and I'd like to say a warm welcome to everyone who started playing The Lord of the Rings Online during the 15th anniversary event. And it warms my heart as an old player to see so many new faces in this world.